Hi guys, this is Jake and Bandit at Canadian Cutting Edge. You want to smell this? The knife for today on Wee Wednesday is the Sanrenmu 4073 aluminum handle scales, 8CR13 MOV steel. It's one of their designer knives. It's the designer whose name I just can't say. I'll show you a picture of the signature that he put on the blade. Well, Sanrenmu put on the blade of his, and I can't read it. If any of you know this designer, please let me know the details about this designer. Sanrenmu isn't answering my emails yet. Hopefully someday soon they will. But this is a really cool little wee knife. Very stabby. We haven't had a stabby knife for a while. And for a wee little knife, it's kind of cool. So this is what we're looking at today. So if you're interested in a wee little knife that looks like this, stick around and I'll give you all the details and info about this knife. Right, Bandit? Say yep. Give me 5. Right on. The first thing that I want to say is that the color on my LCD screen of my that I'm using with this camera looks like it's more golden than it is in reality. In reality, this is a very nice orange. And on the screen, it looks like a very nice gold. A gold would be kind of cool with this knife. But in reality, it's a nice orange. I might get a nice still picture that shows the color better. If I do, I'll put it in right here. And there's the signature on the knife itself that you can see. There you see the name of the model, 4073RUC-xx. GearBest has 3 different colors of this. They've got it in green, silver, and a blue, I think. They don't have it in the orange right now or some other colors. Sanrenmu has made this knife in about 6 or 7 different colors, I'm sure. So if you look around on other vendors, you'll be able to find the other colors maybe in stock right now. But this is what it is right now. One thing that you're probably noticing is these 2 little holes right here. Well, that's because it comes with a pocket clip. And I'll show you a still picture of what that looks like right now. I just don't like pocket clips on these wee little knives. Instead, what I do is I add this little split ring down here to the lanyard hole. This is like a 9mm, just under a centimeter, about 1/3 of an inch is how big this split ring is. And I use that with my keychain. If you've seen my keychain video, you'll see the way that I use with these key rings, how I use them to clip onto my little, I've got these little carabiners that are about, 3/4 of an inch long, and they're on my keychain. And so I can add and take off things from my keychain very easily, which is what I like to do. Instead of swinging a keychain and a knife around when I'm trying to use the knife, I can take it all the way off and just use it. Same thing with the other parts that I have on my keychain system. I really like it that way because it's very modular. I can swap out the blade if I want to use a different knife for the next, several days, or just even that afternoon or whatever. Or any other things that I think I won't need. I've got a little fire start kit that I have on my keychain. If I'm convinced I'm not going to need that, I leave it off. Usually I leave it on, all kinds of things like that I have on my keychain. And that's why I like it like this. But there is one danger with using a keychain like this on some knives, and that is that ring can fold over, and then when I go to close the knife, it can strike the keychain and either chip the blade a little bit or just make it dull. So that's something you have to be careful when you close the knife on all of my little keychain knives, because on a lot of them, this little split ring, I try to get a small enough one that can't swing over on all of them, but they just don't make them much smaller than this. So you just have to be careful that it's not over top of, in the path of the blade when you go to close it, because that would not be a good thing. I don't know how to set this camera to a manual focus in this mode. I really, really wish I could, so that it wouldn't be going back and forth. I did have a camera that I was using for a while from Canon. It just wasn't cutting the mustard. It just wasn't doing what I need it to do. And so, I spent that money on that camera. I'm trying to sell it on to somebody else because it's just not good enough. This camera on this phone, this is actually a Xiaomi Note 4 cell phone, and the camera on it is very, very good. And it's giving me the best video of any of my cameras that I've ever had on any phone or in any other way. The only problem with it is the autofocus just keeps going on, and I have to find the setting on it to be able to turn it into manual focus, and I don't think it has that setting easily available. And I've installed 10 different camera apps to see if I could find one that has that feature, and I just haven't found it yet. So let's keep on going about this knife. You've got Sanrenmu on the name right there. So there you go. You can see right there, Sanrenmu in Chinese characters instead of putting the name in English on the knife. Less than a quarter of their knives have it in Chinese characters instead of in English letters. Notice it's got satin face, and then you've got the really nice grind lines on that saber grind. Nice swedge. Drop point, very, very stabby, very pointy tip right there. That looks really, really nice on that tip, and it is very, very stabby. And it almost looks like it's made with a sneak up choil, like one of those half and half choils right there. But no, you can't really get a finger up there that well unless you're doing something really fine that doesn't take a lot of pressure. Then you can put your finger there and sort of do some delicate work. Usually I just keep my hand back here though. Some other good touches that are on this knife. I really like this little sharpener's choil. Makes it easy to sharpen it. I like that a lot. The thumb stud does come out over the path of the cut a little ways, but you just have to end up cutting a bit on an angle if you don't want that to hang up. You're not cutting big stuff with this knife anyway. You might cut apart a small apple with this, maybe, and some other things in your daily chores. A lot of my EDC tasks are opening small things like a small package or something, and you really don't need a knife that's much longer than this. This size knife works for 90% of my EDC that I face every day. That's why it says everyday carry. I like the pattern on the handle scales right here that they've done. This is an aluminum handle scale, and they've put in that nice pattern with those elongated chevrons. They're elongated on the one side anyways. It looks really nice. The show side looks nicer because you don't see any screw heads, and you just have the nice round surface of those the bolts on this side and the screws on this side. It looks really, really sharp. I like it an awful lot. Slip joint, non-locking, and when I show you the inside of the knife, hey, I'll show you the inside of the knife right now. You'll see that this back spacer is a single piece of steel that comes all the way up, and then it uses a slip joint on the inside right there. It looks a little bit like a back lock does back here, except for it doesn't have the notch out. It just sort of has a notch down, and then it goes all the way back off the tang of the blade. Any case, let's talk about the measurements and everything on this knife now. Cutting edge. So from the end of that sharpener's choil to that really stabby tip, 4.7 centimeters, 1.85 inches. The blade length from the end of the handle to the tip, 5.1 centimeters, 2 inches. The thickness of the blade is 2 millimeters, which is 0.08 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind is 0.4 millimeters, which is 0.016 inches. So that's very nice and thin behind the grind edge for a knife this size. Knives that are 2 inches and longer, I like it to be 0.5 millimeters. So the smaller the knife gets, the thinner that behind the grind edge should be. And this one follows that at 0.4. So that's really, really good. The handle length is 6.9 centimeters, which is 2.7 inches. And the grip area, so from this finger choil here to where my nail is right there, 5.4 centimeters, 2.1 inches. The handle thickness, and it's got its thickest spot just at the top edge of this ridge that comes along right here. Right there, the thickest is 0.7 centimeters, so 7 millimeters, which is 0.28 inches, just over 1/4 of an inch. And the total length of the knife when it's open is 12 centimeters, 4 3/4 inches. It weighs 23 grams, which is 0.8 of an ounce. It's a small little knife that's really, really nice for what it is. Torx screws, all 3 of them, they're all the same size. I think that's T6, if I remember correctly. Easy to take apart, easy to clean if you need to, easy to put back together. Nice little sweet knife. The price, $6.19 US at GearBest, but then you're going to have to pay 2 shekels for shipping. Again, at GearBest, if you buy 2-3 things, the shipping starts going down. By the time you've bought 4, wee little knives like this, your shipping has disappeared, and you've only paid the base price of this. And so the base price is very attractive. It ends up being the best price of anywhere on the internet, 95% of the time, especially after you've bought, 3 things or so. And this knife is no way it's going to get confiscated by CBSA, for you Canadians who might be wondering. And in Canadian dollars, this is $8.53. And if this is the only thing you buy, you're going to have to add $2.80 shipping. So that makes it around $11.25, $11.30 or something like that, all told, if this is the only thing you buy. And, that's much better than a knife that you can get at a gas station or whatever. And knives at gas stations here in Canada are getting harder and harder to find. Stores don't want to stock them. Nice little knife. What are the things that I really like about this knife, and what are the cons about this knife? I like that it comes very sharp. That slip joint detent works very well. It holds it very snugly. It takes an awful lot of force for it to start closing on you. And you can have the pivot nice and snug so that it won't go flying closed on you very easily. It has to be very close to all the way closed before it starts sucking it in. So that means it's a very safe slip joint to use. I like the color options on this knife, really nice. And a designer product for £5. Wow. Under $10 US for a designer knife, not bad at all. Very comfortable in hand and very secure in hand because of this nice choil right here. That index finger can get a nice good grab of it, and it's a really good little knife. I'm not going to use this knife backhanded. I never have, this kind of, hold or anything, or this kind of hold. I've never held this knife that way to use it. It's usually like this, sometimes like this, and the odd time, like a lot of wee little knives, you use this kind of pinch hold to do some delicate cutting and some delicate work, small work. What do I not like about this? Well, I don't mind the fact that we've got a pocket clip that is tip down and right side only. I'll show you what it looks like in a pocket, both in the coin pocket and in the main pocket. See what it looks like. I just never used them in a pocket like that, so I took the pocket clip off. Some of you guys who want it with a pocket clip, you're stuck with tip down right side only. And so I put that in the cons because there's some of you guys that think that way, and it might be a large number of you guys, so that's why I'm going to let you know about that here. And the other potential negative, if you use it the way I am, and I mentioned it before with the split ring, is if the split ring comes up there and gets in the path of the blade, you can do damage to your blade because of that split ring, being steel. It gets in the way and you can damage your edge. So that's a potential negative that you have to be careful of. And that's about it. There's not really that many negatives about this knife. It's just made just too well. For a knife like this, I don't care that it's not a locking knife. Let's do some cut tests. Got some heavy paper here, and it cuts through that quite easily. No problem there. Let's see what it does on copy paper. So that's printer, copy paper, 20-pound paper, cuts that quite well. A little bit of cardboard. No problem on the cardboard. Let's see how it does with this inch-wide banding. So we got that banding there. Zipped through all of it. Let's see how well it slices this way. That's actually a little bit harder to get enough force down to slice it. And it's not because the edge isn't sharp enough, because it is, as you saw there. It's just very narrow to put enough pressure on, especially up because of the swedge up here. It's hard to get your finger near the end to put enough pressure on it. But those cuts were quite deep, but not quite deep enough. So, that might be a shortcoming of the knife right there. And I've got some 7-strand paracord here, and it just zips through that quite well. And it cuts through that quite well also. There you go. That's the cut test. If you're looking for a knife like this, head on down to GearBest. Use the links that I have in the description below. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe. I would appreciate that an awful lot. And if you don't like the knife, let me know. Tell me what you do like. What kind of wee knife? I do a wee knife every Wednesday. That's what I call this section, Wee Wednesdays, when I review knives that are less than a 3-finger hold. This knife is just not quite a 3-finger hold. My third finger, sort of slides off the end. So anything that's, less than a 3-finger hold, I call a wee knife. And every Wednesday, you'll see a review of a small knife like that, hopefully every Wednesday. And thank you so much for subscribing. Please comment, share, like, and comments are my favorite. I like to talk to you guys. So let me know what you think. And remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.